Good afternoon, and welcome to the June 15th, 2023 meeting of the Rotary Club of Orlando, our first meeting in the new location. So I want to take a minute to thank everyone who has made the effort to be here today. I know it's a challenge in a new place, and believe me, we're all going through it together. All right, I get it. Hold on a sec. Is that better? Okay. Our sergeant at arms couldn't make it today, and so I'm doing double duty here, trying to run the sound system and the meeting at the same time. So anyway, I was thanking everyone for being in attendance today. I know it's a challenge to be here, and the first time in a new location, so I really appreciate the effort that everyone made to be here today. And I also want to give a special welcome to our District Governor, Andres Goyanes, and his beautiful wife, Veronica. Thank you for being here. We appreciate your support. So let me begin the meeting by reminding everyone, please silence your cell phones. And we'll start with an invocation from Jim Haynes. So Jim, you can find your way up here.
David, we need the microphone louder. I got it. Oh.
Well, if you'll bow with me, please, we'll go ahead and have the invocation. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together this outstanding day here in the City Beautiful. It is an honor and privilege to have fellowship with current members, guests, and countless members emeritus who have gone before, serving others above self at the Rotary Club of Orlando for over 100 years, or about 100. We couldn't do all of that without your guidance. We thank you for the Salvation Army and how bless our new official meeting place, that it be everything we need and more for a long time. We ask you to bless this food and the hands that prepared it. May it nourish our bodies. We look to you and those whose understanding includes audiovisual systems to make everything work without hiccup for today's speaker. Help us to be better Rotarians going forward. Open our eyes to opportunities where we can effectively serve, and fill us with zeal and vigor for the projects we take on. Open our hearts and direct us to all the resources needed to accomplish club goals. Help us live out the four-way test and let our enthusiasm make our club a model for others. Amen.
Thank you, Jim. Great job. Now for our patriotic music, Chapmen.
I don't need no stinking microphone. I'll use my open air voice. By the way, our district governor and his wife and some fellow Rotarians went out on the street with us in our outreach last Saturday. We had a great time. We appreciate your service above self. Today we're going to sing My Country 'Tis of Thee. My country 'tis of thee, land of liberty, of thee I sing, land where my fathers died, land of the Pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Go Dogs.
Thanks, Ken. We appreciate that. Great job. Now, to introduce our guests and visitors, our President-elect, Chris Whitney. Chris, did you hear that? Chris Whitney. Let's have Chris Whitney come to the podium.
We know where the visitor things are? Don't have.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. This will give me a chance to adjust the microphone again.
So I came casual today because, I got to stand here without more in a couple of weeks, so I thought I would take a break. And that'll teach me. So these are unrehearsed. We have, let's see, okay. We have, I think it's Kyle Finley. For each of our guests and visiting Rotarians, if you would stand and wait for our special welcome, we'd appreciate it. So it's Kyle Finley, from a guest of Rich and Tammy. John McWhirter, a guest of Diane, our speaker today. Adrian, is it Gonzalez? Okay, guest of Rich and Tammy. And then we've already been introduced, our District Governor, Andre, please. And Veronica from the Rotary Club of I Drive. You all would stand, and fellow Rotarians, let's greet our guests. Strangers gather round, welcome to our friendly town.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Amazing how we get through this without a rehearsal. And now Ron Tayo, who is ready to speak. Ron is going to go through our perfect attendance, right?
Yes.
Okay, great.
These are not only attendance awards for the month, but also attendance these days calls for recognition of your efforts, working on programs, and just being involved in Rotary. All of those events count towards this. Our incoming president, Chris Whitney, has 4 years. You should get excited. Clap. Out in Zoom land is Bob Blackford. Bob's been our president in the past. He's also been very, very much involved in our bylaws. He's been an outstanding member of this club for many, many years. And Bob has 4 years of perfect attendance as well. Y'all clap so he can hear you out in Zoom land. My goodness. And Jody Walker, who's not here today, I don't believe, he has 27 years. He was due in March. However, he had a few misses. So he went online and saw past programs and got credit for some of the events that he's been involved in. And so he has brought it up to date, and he now has 27 years. I hope he's out there in Zoom land. Give him a hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Great job with that. Now I'd like to call District Governor Andres up to the podium. Our District Governor has a short announcement.
Well, I'd like to ask Captain Ken Chapmen to come up here for a second. As you all know, I pop into clubs all around the district and I hand out something really special. Now, there's a certificate that goes along with what I'm going to give you. My printer was not cooperating, so you're not the only one having some issues, but I have a special thank you challenge coin for your inspirational leadership. I really thank the collaboration you've had with our club. So this is more on a personal level. Thank you for being a very good influence. So thank you so much. All right. I will pop in again another day and bring the certificate so you can hang it in your office. All right.
If there was ever an award well-deserved, that would be it. We all appreciate you, Ken. You're a great Rotarian. And now a couple of housekeeping announcements. Just want to remind everyone, our dues are due today. So the due structure is different this year. You can pay it monthly, you can pay it semi-annually, or you can pay it annually, however you see fit. Go online to do that. If you need instructions on that, you can talk to Tammy. She can walk you through it. Also, the district assembly is this Saturday. Tickets are still available for $150 a piece. Rich and Gerald can help you out if you want to buy a ticket to attend that. And now I would like to have Calvin Gardner come up and do the happy dollars.
All right, happy dollar. Am I on? Hello? Can you hear me? Test, test. There we go. Mr. President, what is the happy dollars going towards today? Rotary Club of Orlando. All right. So today we're going to be famous people. Who knows what happened today in history? Probably a lot of things, but Arlington Cemetery actually opened. Arlington Cemetery, National Military Cemetery. Who can tell me whose plantation that was built on? Okay, you cheated. He's a history guy. Yeah, but who else's was it? It was George Washington's. George Washington married, or Robert E. Lee married George Washington's granddaughter. So yeah, they were mad at Robert E. Lee. They made his plantation into a cemetery to get back at him. So, all right. So the other famous people we're going to do today is who can tell me as I come around a famous street or a famous building or place in Orlando named after a Rotarian from this club. All right. And we got happy dollars too. Anybody for happy dollars?
Two happy dollars, one for the outgoing president, one for the incoming president. And I think there's a garden named after Harry P. Liu, right?
That's right.
Yes, very good. Right out of the gate. And there's also another one out there. It's Calvin Street. It's over by the executive airport. Coincidence? I don't know. Anybody else? Really, I'm kind of surprised. I think everybody would have a bunch of those.
I'm just happy everybody showed up today. There was a crew of people here yesterday rearranging this entire restaurant. And thank you all for finding us in the woods.
Perfect. Thank you. Anybody know the name of the federal building here? George Young, member of our club. Anybody here? All right. Anybody else know a famous street or? Was Anderson in our club? I think that was previous. I don't think Delaney was in our club. You guys are going way back. All right. Anybody? Happy dollars, happy dollars. How about Cheney? Anybody heard of Cheney Highway? Old Cheney? He was in our club.
Nobody in our club remembers that Martin Anderson was the publisher of the Orlando Sentinel and one of the best Rotarians we've ever had.
Is that true? Is that who Anderson's named after?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. I'm corrected on that one.
Where you get the electricity today was named after Kurt Stanton, who was a member here for 30 years.
That's a good one. I had that one in my back pocket. You just stole it. Anybody else? We have any happy dollars? Anybody happy? Anybody happy that the Gators are going to the world champion for baseball? Anybody?
Oh, yeah.
Got to be somebody happy about that besides me. All right. We got one more here.
Jacob Sutherland. Summerlin.
No, he was not a Rotarian here.
Ollie said.
No, he's wrong about that. I know who Summerlin was. Summerlin was the one that started Orlando. That was way before Rotary. All right. So that's a big no on Ollie.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Cal. Appreciate it. Okay, moving forward, I'd like to call Diane McWhirter up here, our program today. And Diane, as you know, is a member of our club. She's an attorney, and she's going to be talking today about how to avoid courtroom drama in estate sales. So Let's welcome Diane McWhirter.
How do I work?
Oh, I'll take care of it for you.
Oh, thank you. This is my husband. He's going to pass out the flyers. His name's John. So, thank you for inviting me today, or showing and listening to. Okay. Thank you for, can you hear me now? Thank you for being here. And I hope that this is interesting and helpful information. How many in the legal field are here? Okay, legal field. Okay. So this is actually a bankruptcy related case. And it started in probate. It's still an active case. It's been going on for 13 years. And it's not an Orange County case, and it's not a Middle District of Florida case. So I think we're safe. There's no Southern District bankruptcy judges in the room, are there? And there's no Seminole County judges. Is that correct? All right, so I think we're all right. It's an example of what happens when unimaginably bad conduct happens during an estate sale. So bad that you wouldn't expect it. And so bad that the judges felt compelled to write. Can you hear me? Okay, so bad. Can you hear me now? It was unimaginably bad. You don't expect this conduct in an estate sale. And the judges were so impressed with it that they wrote about it lengthy, more than 5 times, explaining to the family, you cannot do this. This is very bad conduct. And the 5th time they said, this is it. This is the last time we're telling you. So I thought, you know, as Rotarians, if you take this principle and you apply it towards an estate sale, this wouldn't happen. So what went wrong? Well, to start out with, families are under strain during a traumatic event like a family loss. So you lose a family member through divorce or through probate, through death. It's the same sort of strain. Mother liked me better, but mother's not there to say, no, I didn't. So what mother did in this situation is she wrote a will. And in the will and the trust, she said 50-50. Okay, so, but she also gave one person a power of attorney. The power of attorney is a very powerful document. How many of you have powers of attorney? Okay, so once you give it to the other person, it's not a springing document anymore. They've eliminated that. It's effective immediately. And so she gave her son, his name is Debtor. She gave Debtor the power of attorney, and he immediately started giving his wife and his kids and himself gifts. And he did that, I guess, in front of her, or however he did it. But then he continued to do it after she passed away. And so at the estate sale, he showed up with this same attitude. He showed up, and he started giving things to people, giving them to himself, giving them to his wife. Said, this is what my mother would have wanted. This is the way it always was. Well, it wasn't what his mother wanted. His mother had put it in writing what she wanted. And the way it always was, maybe, but that was wrong. Wasn't the way it always was. Just when she became frail. So the personal representative that was named was this person named Debtor, who he's debtor because he ended up owing a lot of money at the end of the case. And he tried to bankrupt it And the judges said, no, you can't bankrupt such bad conduct. This is very bad conduct. You can't bankrupt this debt. You owe this money to your brother. So he became the personal representative because his mother had sent him to law school. And his mother said, you know, the least you can do is be, I'm just imagining this, is be my probate lawyer, you know, save the family some money. He did not save the family money. They're in court for 13 years. And they're fighting over one day in an estate sale, less than $100,000. They're actually fighting over a watch and some jewelry. And they're in court over it. And they don't know how much it's worth. It's the principle of the thing. And the courts are saying that's right. It's the principle of the thing. So I just thought, you know, you should know that even if the other side doesn't know, you don't know how much money is involved, if it's really bad, the courts might uphold, might sanction the conduct. So when you are a personal representative, you are a fiduciary. A fiduciary holds a position of trust. So when you also have certain power to take care of the assets in the estate. The assets in this estate could mostly be handled through an estate sale because it was a condo. You know, some old purses, old lady, old stuff, and some jewelry. Okay, so before the estate sale, with his power of attorney, debtor walks in and takes the jewelry and ships it off somewhere to be sold. And before the estate sale, he has his wife come in and take whatever she wants, because that's what mother would have wanted. So, and then they had the estate sale, they didn't tell the brother of the estate sale. Now, here's the thing, the brother had been living in this estate, in this condo with his mother, the unnoticed brother, the creditor, the one who lost his jewelry and other things. And during the estate sale, the bad brother, shall I call him that? The bad brother named debtor sold his brother's things too. So he sold his brother's things, and he sold the brother named creditor was living there with his children, the grandchildren. And so they became close to the grandmother. The grandmother said, I'm going to give my grandchildren the jewelry. No, bad brother showed up and he sold their jewelry, or he did something with it. It's not clear. It's at some other place. And so the court said that that was wrong. So it's that part of it that caused the problem. So the part about the Rotary would be, is it the truth? Is it true that mother would have wanted it that way? This is what he told everyone. Don't worry about it. My brother is a total bad person. He's evil. He said, it's in the trial transcript. He's evil. We are arch enemies. That much was true. But the truth was that the document said 50-50. So if he had followed the documents, this wouldn't have happened. So in selling the grandchildren's jewelry, the grandchildren's possessions from, they were living in the home, he sold their possessions at the estate sale. He made the brother really mad. You can imagine the level of anger. I don't want the purses. I don't want mama's purses, but you shouldn't have sold my kids' stuff. You shouldn't have sold my watch. You shouldn't have sold my things. And you should have told me of the estate sale. And the courts agreed with him 5 times with the complaining brother. So. I think we're on the one with the timeline now. Mhm. The next one. Next one. That one, yes. So. Do you want me to advance it? I can't, okay, I think we're on the one after that. Okay, that's good, thank you. So in looking at the thing, I forgot to tell you that there was a trust set up in the documents so that any money left to the grandkids was to be in a trust. So the argument that the attorney for the creditor came up with was that the money from the estate sale, when they sold the jewelry, should have gone into a trust. There should have been an accounting, and there should have been, the money should have been cared for as a fiduciary. It wasn't. What happened instead was the lawyer, remember he was a lawyer, said, I had a lawyer, I went to consult with a lawyer, and the lawyer told me I don't have to do that. I'm the personal representative and I'm in charge. And as long as I'm in charge, there's no trust yet. And so I don't have to do anything. I'm doing this in the best interest of the estate. We need to have a speedy administration. We need to handle this quickly. And the quickest thing is for me just to sell everything quickly and put the money in the estate bank account. So an attorney showed up as a witness and said, that's right, I agree. So the courts, however, at the federal level said, no, a fiduciary is a fiduciary. And you can't say, I'm this kind of fiduciary and I'm not that kind of fiduciary, so I'm not in charge. The court said, if you're a fiduciary, you'd have to take care of the possessions that you're in charge of, and you need to follow the rules. And he didn't do that. He didn't notify them. So the big thing that he got in trouble for was not doing an accounting. They didn't find that he actually stole it, but he didn't do an accounting, and he didn't act as a fiduciary because he said he wasn't a fiduciary yet. So I know there's a lot of talk about, here's a warning, I guess. There's a lot of talk about, I'm going to do this trust, that way I don't have to deal with the fiduciary responsibility of being a personal representative. Well, this court said no. If you're a fiduciary through a trust document, you're as responsible as if you were a personal representative. And that fiduciary relationship starts from the minute you get the property and the minute the person passes away and you know that there's an issue. So, see, his argument was, I'm not in charge until the estate closes, because then through a pour-over clause, it goes into the trust, and not until then. And the court said, no, you can't do that, no. You're in charge, you're responsible. Okay. So on the timeline, on the next page of the timeline, the next one after that. Okay, so then he asked for the jewelry, and then we go on. Okay, so then in 2017, almost many years later, that's good, thank you. The trial court removed the debtor as the personal representative because of what I said. He failed to do his job. And they also found that he was willfully trying to be clever and not, he was willfully trying to keep as much as he could. On the next page, I'm sorry. So we'll go on one more. Thank you. So at the brother who was wronged said he hired an attorney, and the attorney was very good, and from South Florida attorney, and he said, there's two things wrong, and I told you what they were. One is that he didn't do the accounting, it wasn't proper administratively, and the other thing was that he willfully wronged us, and the courts agreed with them, but they didn't find it was rose to the level of civil theft. So he's not in criminal trouble, but he does have this judgment, and they charged him 3 times for costs. So right after getting a judgment against him, he tried to bankrupt it. And that's an option if it's a legitimate debt. But when you act like this, and there's other reasons you can't bankrupt. One is if you haven't filed your federal income taxes, and there's other reasons. But one reason not to be able to bankrupt a debt is if it was willful and malicious, and the bankruptcy court found it was, although it didn't rise to the level of criminal. So he was told several times, no, it's terrible conduct, you cannot do this. So on this handout that I gave you, it's on the next page of the, There's one more, next page. We're moving quite along. So the bankruptcy court, as you can see on the screen, and also in the handout, the distinction the debtor sought to draw between being a personal representative rather than a trustee of a trust is an illusory distinction. A personal representative rather than a trustee of a trust. A personal representative owes precisely the same duties as a trustee of an express trust. The debtor was previously found to have acted in a manner inconsistent with his fiduciary obligations to the beneficiaries of the estate. And then on the next slide. Okay. Now the court's language I thought was significant. They wrote this, all 5 of them wrote the same language, and then they would quote the other court, but this is the language. It is clear that the debtor acted in a manner as a person under power of attorney and as personal representative that was designed to assure that creditor got as little from mom's estate as possible, and that the amount he did get was as minimized as possible and to the greatest extent possible. The court found that there is significant evidence of that by his decision not to let creditor or his sons know about the estate sale. Debtor didn't want creditor to get anything from mom's estate, even if the debtor had to show up with his wife and pay for it. In other words, debtor showed up and bought things that he thought his brother would like, was what the court was inferring. The decision to exclude creditor and his sons from knowledge of the estate sale is to me evidence of malice, and to the extent that creditor or his sons creditor was deprived of property as a result of that, it's clear to me that deprivation was willful. The amount of the resulting debt is to be liquidated in the circuit court, and upon a determination of the amount of the debt will be non-dischargeable. The next screen. Okay. And the court also found that any gifts that he made to his wife or to himself at the estate sale or after the mother died were void. So the court just said, you have to pay all this back. And they sent it back down to the court to decide how much it was. It's less than 100,000, but with malice, things can be trebled. So this is an estate sale gone wrong. And I know this would never happen with Rotarians because the truth, it clearly was not fair to all concerned. It didn't build goodwill and destroyed relationships. And it was not beneficial to all concerned. Even the minors were hurt. I mean, he even hurt the minors, taking their toys and things and jewelry. So this is an example of what happens in the court system, why it can take so many years. People say, why does it take so long? Well, people are stubborn, selfish, hard-headed, can be part of the problem. And they're just trying to avoid paying the debt. I don't know what he's thinking. Who knows? But if you apply the Rotarian principles, you'll be fine at an estate sale, because when you go to have an estate sale, you think about the family, you'll be fine. Any other questions? Yes. Pardon me?
I guess I have a fundamental non-understanding of the court system. I thought when you lost in the court, you had appeal to a higher court. That was your only thing. It seems like they kept going back to the same court. Why was that allowed?
Oh, no, they went to different courts. He went to the Florida, all the way up to the Florida Supreme Court. He went to the trial court, then to the district court, Florida Supreme Court. Then he went to the bankruptcy court, the trial court there, the appellate court. He did not make it to the US Supreme Court yet. Okay. Any other questions?
So you said the value was under $100,000 that all this argument's been going on?
Yes.
What were the attorney fees for 14 years of litigation?
I don't know, but this is what childhood friends are for, right? I'm just kidding. I don't know if it was a family friend that he caught up with, but I'm sure that they were high. But he is, I think he's representing himself now. He is pro se. He's had lawyers from time to time, not me. I didn't represent them.
I guess I do have one question. Say it is settled and the debtor's son has to pay. He doesn't have any money, so the creditor's son's still out, correct? I mean, the creditor's son at some point should probably say, cash it in, because he's not gonna be able to collect anyway.
Well, there's things like pension. He was a school teacher, so I think they're
Okay.
trying to get
Can
Social
you
Security.
attach those things?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. Any other questions? I know somebody that but it was for alimony. They attached Social Security, but that's for family. Yeah, yeah. Mr. Marshall, yeah.
I used to do probate a long time ago, but this is an egregious case.
It is.
This does not happen, though. Denny Carrera's question about how this happens in the court system, I don't understand.
Right. There was like a malicious, there was clearly a malicious, the way that he would answer questions, like just saying flippantly, we're arch enemies. I mean, you just don't, I mean, I've not heard that before in the court system. Nobody says during a formal proceeding, we're arch enemies. Just kind of the flippant, callous disregard for the other person.
I had a couple questions. So I'm an appraiser and I get hired all the time to do commercial and residential stuff for estates. We do date of deceased, and then sometimes they pick a date that's similar to that or whatever they need. Is there a requirement from a power of attorney to get a certified appraisal for real estate, for jewelry, for any of the FF&E, anything like that?
Well, yes, with an estate sales. But if you look at the timeline, yes, he had a licensed estate sale person, but he didn't give him everything. If you look at the date of the estate sale, it was almost a year after he took the things. So. There was a dispute. So there was a dispute about the existence of the jewelry. Whether it was there, whether it was stolen. He said anybody could have got in that condo and taken it. The estate sale person said, I didn't see it. And the court said, you were in charge of the condo. You are a fiduciary. It was there when she passed. You knew what was supposed to happen to it. You saw the estate planning documents. You can't dodge this. You let this happen. However it happened, if somebody came into the condo, you know, you're responsible. Part of it is mercy. You don't get mercy when you show in court and show no mercy toward the other party. The mean-spiritedness of I mean, that's me speaking, judges are here, but that's in my experience. It's a clean hands is a common doctrine in the court system. And if you show so they had to decide what to do about the jewelry. And they just decided that they're not sure how much there was or what there was, but whatever they determined that there was, and they have to go back down and decide that debtor, the attorney brother is responsible for it. But I think it's partly because they were really tough on him, partly because he was so tough on his brother. So he didn't get any benefit of the doubt. Mhm.
Diane, we have a question from Zoom. Bill Pieper has asked the question, how do we protect ourselves against such brazen behavior?
Well, I know that we won't do that brazen behavior because we'll remember the four-way test. When you have such brazen behavior, I think one way to handle it is to have a court reporter present when you're at the courthouse, so that there's no question as to what was said. But the other way, you know, it's just have a lawyer. And this brother was successful because he defended himself with a lawyer and stood up to it. But yes, a lot of people would cave. Bill, you're right. I mean, if you don't defend yourself, then they get away with it. It's bully type tactics.
Any more questions? Oh, one more question, Britt.
I think we've probably all heard the expression, I'll take this thing all the way to the Supreme Court. But does the courts have any right, I guess, to say, look, this thing has gone 3 or 4, we're not going to hear this case?
That's what they did. Finally, they said, this is it. This is the last time I'm telling you. No more. We're closing the case. They actually said that, yes. A lot of times they do it the first time. I'm not sure how he got to be heard so many times, except it was 5 different courts, 5 different levels. And they all found it significant enough to write an opinion about it. So I guess the encouragement is that if you're in this situation, although it'd be hard to get there, if you get to the court might be on your side. But you ask your lawyer about it. Anything else? It's very unusual. Mr. Marshall's right. It's unusual to have someone be so brazen about their animosity and so open about it. Usually people want to present themselves and their family in the best light. Anything else? So I hope this somehow ties into the Rotary plan, go Rotary.
All right, thank you, Diane. That was great. Let's have her hand.
Well, I love the place. It's great, great
Great
idea.
venue. Okay. Well, thank you. I turned the microphone off here at the wrong time. We're having a little feedback problem. And so right when she said that she really loved the place, I turned it down. So I like that repeated. The search committee really did a lot of work going through different venues. And I know we've had some people point out the fact that, you know, parking isn't ideal here. However, the positives outweigh the negatives in this location. We got a great location here and I hope everybody enjoys it. And I hope we're going to see this as a real growth spurt for our club. Now let's moving forward. Where's Denny Career? Denny?
We want to sell a few more so we can get over $1,000 prize for the winner. A little bit short. Does anybody want to buy any more tickets? We're right up to now what the winner's going to get about $960. We'd like to see them get over 1,000 if he picks it today. Anybody else want any more tickets? Nobody? Okay. All right. Good man.
Okay. We got Dan and Britt and Dan. And is that George? Do you have your hand up too, George? If you win, you get a full refund if you don't pick the right card. So remember, the way this works is if we pull your ticket, you're guaranteed to at least get your money back that you paid for the ticket. So anybody else want to comment on, did you enjoy the food today? Huh? Food was good, right? Yeah. I did want to take a minute I wanted to thank Mark Lewandowski. Mark Lewandowski is the chef and he's going to be taking care of us here. So if you see Mark, he's not here right now, but if you see Mark, thank him for his efforts. We enjoyed the food. It was great today. And tell him to keep up the good work. Okay, Denny, ready to pull that ticket? Okay. You know, these meetings are completely unrehearsed. You would never know that. What should I tell you? Diane told about a really contentious inheritance. I heard of another one where two friends, one of them had a 100-year-old bottle of scotch, very valuable bottle of scotch. And his friend, when he passed away, his friend inherited it with the stipulation that he take the scotch and pour it all over his friend's body in the casket. So that's exactly what he did. However, he strained it through his kidneys first, and not exactly what he had in mind. I don't think that one ended up in court. All right, Donnie, anytime you're ready. Okay. Put those tickets in here and we'll mix them up.
Well, everybody know we've moved one ticket in there that's kind of dead. So if we draw it, nobody dead. So nobody get upset if we call on the ticket.
How we get a dead ticket in here?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. All right. Does anyone have 8075756? 5756. Rich and Garrow. You got it. Okay. Yeah, 756, the last three numbers. Okay. Hold that. Sure. All right. There you go.
Oh, it was close. King of clubs. King of clubs. Nobody wins. We'll rip it up. It's going to be bigger next week. Thank you, everybody.
This deck is really getting small now, so odds are improving.
Getting better.
The odds are good. The goods are odd. Okay. Now it's time to turn your cell phones back on. Remember, we are a business club, do business with Rotarians. And now, if you will please join me in the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Our meeting is adjourned.